You want to go right on in here? Have a seat. There he is.
Oh, you're right. See, I'm delusional after 5 o'clock.
What's that?
Are we good?
I said there's speakers on this. I don't see any speakers.
But you would.
It's on, it's on. You know, I got a foot above for the.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm doing, how you doing, sir?
There's internal.
Yeah, they're probably internal, 'cause
Well,
this is all.
Sonny just said there were speakers here. Okay.
The TV has built-in speakers, it's a TV.
Okay. Number one, you need to.
This meeting to order. We're going to have the invocation led by Pastor Mulberry and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Jones.
Good evening, everyone. Father, we thank you again for this day. We thank you for how good you've been all day long. Father, we thank you because you blessed us to come together once again. Pray, God, that you will bless the leadership of this city. God, we pray for directions and instructions in righteousness. Pray, dear God, that your hand will rest upon us continually. Continue to lead, guide, and direct in all affairs. We give you praise and glory for all that you're doing for us. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the roll call, please, Ms. Grant.
Thank you. Commissioner Tammy McCaskill. Here. Commissioner Justin Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner Will Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Rufus Borum is an excused absence attending a conference on behalf of the city. Mayor Robbie Correa.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a quorum in the chambers.
Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from the April 25th, 2024 meeting?
Motion to accept minutes is written.
Second.
A motion, a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. We're going to move on to public recognition presentations. Presentation, Veterans of Foreign Wars Firefighter of the Year, Matthew Pope, and Police Officer of the Year, Shelton Williams.
Come on, bro.
Well, it appears I have the mic up here, don't I? Our commander here, Jerry Donnelly, he's usually the one talking. I'm the quartermaster of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Palatka Post 3349. And we're here for an awesome responsibility to just recognize our public servants and the outstanding work that they do on a regular basis. And we have two of our best here tonight. Our firefighter of the year is Matthew Pope. And our Palatka Policeman Officer of the Year is Officer Shelton Williams. I'm going to read both citations that were sent to us by their bosses. And I'll read from Jason Shaw first. This will be for Officer Shelton Williams. It's a great pleasure that we, the command staff of Palatka Police Department, select Officer Shelton Williams as the VFW Officer of the Year. His exceptional dedication towards this department and outstanding service to this community makes him an ideal candidate for this prestigious honor. Officer Williams consistently goes above and beyond the call of duty, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to upholding the highest standards of law enforcement. He has shown exceptional leadership, displaying a rare combination of professionalism, integrity, and compassion in all interactions with colleagues and the community. In addition to his exceptional performance in routine law enforcement responsibilities, Officer Williams has been instrumental with his proactive approach to strengthening the department's relationship with the community while significantly aiding to crime prevention and public safety. In conclusion, we firmly believe that Officer Williams is exceptionally deserving of the Police Officer of the Year award. His contributions have not only enhanced the reputation of our agency, but have also made a lasting positive impact on the community we serve. Thank you for considering this nomination. I'm confident that recognizing Officer Williams with this award would be a fitting acknowledgement of his outstanding service and dedication to the principles of law enforcement. Submitted by Jason Shaw, Chief of Police. And not to be outdone, from the Palatka Fire Department. This is from Fire Chief Chris Taylor. Our department is extremely proud to recognize Engineer Matthew Pope as our Firefighter of the Year. Matthew has been a positive force in our department since we hired him in 2015. Pope worked in the Putnam County Volunteer Fire Service from 1998 to 2015. Matt has a work ethic second to none. A master welder whose reliability and creativity are unmatched. Engineer Pope designed and fabricated our latest brush truck. His design has created new efficiencies in our brush fire attack strategies. Pope has deployed across the country to fight wildland fires, help hurricane victims, and he always shows up to work early. That's a good man to do that. A true team player, Engineer Pope is highly regarded chainsaw instructor for our department. Pope is always training the newest employees on everything fire department. His dedication to service does not go unrecognized by his crew and the other crews in our department. He is well respected and trusted. His fire department family loves him dearly. He is always willing to teach others what he knows, and his ethics are of the highest caliber. He is someone who always takes responsibility for his actions and words. Pope is an incredible employee whose work ethic, knowledge, dedication, and leadership is a breath of fresh air. He's always ready to step up for anything the fire department needs. Pope has made several trips to South Florida to pick up trucks and other equipment. We truly appreciate our brother and our friend, Matthew Pope, who's a true leader, always showing his can-do attitude and helping those in need. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize the service of this young man and celebrate his friends and family as he lends his services to our community. We'd also like to thank the Veterans of Foreign Wars for all they do in our community and our country at large. Thank you, Fire Chief Chris Taylor. And we appreciate that from the VFW too. Getting started.
I have my mic on. I'm sorry, Sonny. Anyway, we're going to start with proclamation, National Safe Boating Week, May 18th through the 24th. Request a U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. I was busy putting my leg through.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know you want to get the life jacket off.
Absolutely.
Roberta M. Correa, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby endorse and proclaim that May 18th through the 24th, 2024 is Safe Boating Week in the City of Palatka. And we encourage all our citizens to participate in the local U.S. Coast Guard planned activities.
Motion?
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Yes, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Kathy Fisk. I am with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. I have been serving, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have been serving Putnam County here for 18 years. Our main goal is children's education. I believe we start with the kids, then as they get older, they will pass it on to the adults that know everything about voting. One of the good things we try to do is do free vessel exams. As you saw, the Bass Elite Pro Series was just here. I don't know if anybody noticed, but on the port side of most of their boats, they have a sticker. And that means they have taken the time before they started the series to get their boat inspected, which means it has all the state requirements and federal requirements. So they are setting an example for everyday boaters, but especially for the kids. Because if they take the time, there's no reason the rest of us can't to do it. And so this is our biggest thing. We have so much waters, rivers, we have everything here, water. And the biggest thing is there's no reason for a single death if it can be stopped by just having a life jacket. But the biggest thing is you have to know how to put them on correctly. So we do this. We also do free safe boating exams. There is no charge to you. We come to you, we meet with you, we show you what you need to have, what you don't have. And if you don't pass, that's okay, because you can call me again. We'll come back and do it. So that is our goal for Putnam County, and it has been for all these years. And we appreciate, how the Bassmasters supports everything we do. And they make sure every single year, whether they start here in Putnam County or wherever they're starting, that there is Coast Guard Auxiliary doing all their boat exams before the events happen. So we appreciate everything, and we appreciate everybody here going to wear. If you're wondering why we have life jackets, okay, next Friday is wear your life jacket to work day. So we're now setting a perfect example that we're going to wear life jackets so that next week when they bring their own, but this way we can show and hopefully get it in the paper, showing everybody, no matter where you're at, whether you're county, city, whether you're an ambulance driver, whether you're a firefighter, sets the example because we are waterways here in Putnam County. So that is why we have these, and that's, thank you for letting me speak.
And there are our life jackets, folks.
Come on, guys.
Come on down.
Are we staying up here? There we go.
I'm a good sport.
Oh my gosh.
Last shot was a little bit lighter.
Oh, I know. Are we ready?
Very ready. We didn't take that many last time.
I appreciate it, guys. Doesn't he look sharp now? I mean, this is professional. On to our next proclamation for National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. Ms.
Thank you.
Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Roberta M. Correa, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month in the City of Palatka. And we urge everyone in our community to join us in celebration of America's local governments and the National League of Cities historic centennial anniversary by ringing bells with us on May 22nd, 2024 at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Is there somebody here to accept this?
We have our lobbyist Becker and Palatka.
Ah, I knew you came. here.
Yolanda Cash Jackson and Latoya Shields.
Would you like to say a few words? Say a few words. Go ahead.
This is a trick. But just thank you to the Palatka family. You know, someone said, y'all came all the way here? Absolutely. You all have been a family to us, and we really are honored to represent you. And I'm going to not say anything else because we have our state representative here. And certainly want to turn all of my time over to him. And if I could take just a point of personal privilege at this point to recognize Representative Payne. Anything that we accomplished in Tallahassee would not have happened without him, without his leadership and his ability to work across the aisle and to work with leadership and be in leadership. And so I don't know if I'll get another chance to say it, but on behalf of Becker and everybody else of the lives that he's touched, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Well, commissioners and Palatka family, it's great to be here with you tonight. And I just want to thank our lobbyist, your lobbyist, that has done such a great job. It's been a pleasure. I'm humbled by the opportunity to be here and to speak to each of you. But just to let you know, it's not a single person that gets this done. It's a team effort. So the city of Palatka, the lobbyist, Jonathan, former Mayor Hill, we've had a great relationship, and it's been an honor to work for the community that I'm from. Palatka is the center of the district. Now District 20 was District 19 before. The city, Putnam is the center of the district. City of Palatka is the center of the county. So I've been proud and been privileged to be able to work with a great leadership team in Tallahassee with Speaker Renner for a few years and Speaker Sprouse. We've had an impact, and we'll continue to have an impact. Jonathan Griffiths has made certainly an impact for us on the water side. Mr. Bell, I've not had a chance to meet you, but good to see you. And Jane, it's great to see you as well. Mayor, thank you so much for just a few minutes to spend some time with each of you and let you know that I'm really excited about the future of City of Palatka and the growth opportunities we have here, not only economically, but the quality of life that we can continue to enjoy for all of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The next proclamation is for Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Ms. Krantz.
Thank you so much. Therefore, Roberta M. Correa, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month in the City of Palatka. And we call upon volunteers, researchers, caregivers, and medical professionals to work together to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families. And we commend the increased research, education, community support, and services of organizations, including Parkinson's Support Group of Orange Park and the Parkinson's Foundation for working to provide access to quality, cost-effective care.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Sir, would you like to say a few words?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for the recognition and for the support.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next proclamation is for Public Works Week. Ms. Krantz.
Thank you. Therefore, Roberta M. Correa, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th as Public Works Week in the City of Palatka. And we urge all citizens to participate in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all.
So
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Mr. McMillan, would you like to say a few words?
I would love to. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to recognize the men and women who work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep our community running smoothly. If you drink a glass of water, you flush the toilet, drive to the store. These are all things that we take for granted on a day-to-day basis, but recognize that there is someone, there's a face behind those activities, making sure that you are able to do those things. And again, it's an honor for me to, manage them every day. And I would like to call them up here if they were able to make it. That includes those from the water treatment plant to stand up here with me. Come on. I actually just put on my Public Works official hat. Again, these are only a few of the faces that we have in the department. Again, this crosses more than just Public Works. You also have Palatka Gas, which is a utility in this community. Again, all these services are essential to the operation of a successful and safe and happy community. And again, I would just like to recognize them for that.
Amanda, stop trying to hide.
We also want to acknowledge everything Mr. McMillan has done. He is moving on to a new opportunity, our loss, DOT's gain. But we wish him all the best, and we will truly miss Dell and everything he's done for this community.
Yes. Open it up. There you go. All right. Thank you again. I will be brief. We have provided for you Yolanda Cash Jackson from Becker Palatka, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Also have with me Latoya Shields, who works on the Becker team. I just want to thank the commission for coming up to Tallahassee again and being successful again. And I was kind of recapping what you guys have done, and certainly have to acknowledge Mayor Hill and Jonathan as well. Probably over the last 3 or 4 years, well over $20 million. And I hate that Representative Payne left, but that's under his leadership, so I think he deserves a hand for that. So in terms of this session, you obtained the following appropriations, and then we'll go real quickly over some bills that are important to you. The City of Palatka Police Patrol cars, $250,000. And we're waiting for the governor to sign the budget, but I think you'll be okay. All right. And then the City of Palatka Portable Water, $3.5 million. Amazing. And then the City of Palatka, Home Rehabilitation Program, another $367,900. So you had a pretty good year for a total of a little over $4 million. So I think, Commissioner, you can take a bow for the work, the advocacy that you did on that as well. And the city attorney came up too. So thank you for that. But we had an overall budget in the state of $117.46 billion. And I would say to say that Palatka got its fair share out of that. But we had record funding in a lot of areas. The highlights of the budget, and I'm just go through this and then just talk about a couple of bills. But the budget maintains a planned reserve totaling $10 billion, some of the biggest reserves that we've ever had in state government, at least since I've been doing this for the last 25 years. The budget provides $450 million for toll relief programs, and the budget repurposes a portion of previously federal dollars to other funds. So $100 million for Hometown Hero Program, $77 million to sustain mental health capacity, $41.8 million for construction of special facilities projects, $20 million to purchase generators for eligible fiscally constrained counties. So on and on. So we had a full budget. We don't know what the governor is going to do. We know that we're not going to have a special session. We understand. So we expect that the governor will sign the budget sometimes at the end of the month. He has to sign it by June 30th because that's the new fiscal year. In terms of bills, we continue to struggle with home rule. It's something that you guys have us looking on. Preemption continues to be a concern. Some things that you don't have to worry about as much, but there were some bills having to do with unauthorized public camping, that is camping for homelessness, which puts cities in the fray for liability for homeless encampments. Vacation rentals, something that you have a little concern about. And there was a bill that was passed on vacation rentals, a lot of preemption in that bill, but still gave us some local control, some still remaining. And then expedited approval of residential buildings, permitting, that was another bill. So there were a lot of bills dealing with preemption type issues that are usually left to you. We will continue to track those and continue to have concern about those because we believe that all politics is local. So with that, I am going to stop, and I don't want to go through all these lists of bills. The manager's looking at me, say you got 5 minutes. But we certainly want to once again thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity to represent you.
Good evening again. Sunny, do you have the survey that we have? So as our last meeting, we updated, we were awaiting the survey from the surveyor. We've got that now. And what I've done is I've reached out to the county engineer to start overlaying in scale for your selection, most likely at the next commission meeting, I guess, most probable spots for the restroom. If you want to show the survey, and if you really want, we can point right now and say, hey, this looks like a good spot, and we can, there's 2 that we've got outlined, but if there's something else or another location you think is better, we're willing to entertain that and at least show it. But once that is done, actually, and we outline a location, what our intent is just put that out to bid and come back to you with a construction cost. So the scope specifications, everything is done. This was the last component. In other words, the site survey. So I think at some point in the past, there was a request potentially to have, if I can point, so if you can scroll down a little bit, consideration for a restroom somewhere in this area. As you can see, the contour line, it's okay. The contour line's a little tight here, so we would potentially, look at putting it in a flatter area or producing some site work. But if there's another, location that you'd like us to consider for the drawing and stuff, please let me know.
Is there an existing water line where an old restroom or bathroom
existed in the past?
No, sir, there was no old restroom per se. Perhaps maybe when it was a water treatment plant. That is no longer there. So there is a water line, I guess, if you'd look to, it'd be the northwest side of the parking lot. Adjacent, there's like a little dot, that's a telephone pole. We have water on site there additionally, right next to power. And that was the original location that was proposed, specifically because of adjacency to utilities and ease of access to the site for sanitary. Due to the elevations at the site, we would look at, having a lift station. Gravity sewer for the locations that we've got here are a little difficult. But that also means that we can put the thing really anywhere. Just it's a matter of cost.
Would it affect the cost?
If we look at areas that have, I guess, tighter contour lines, yes, it does. So the cost for access through ADA sidewalks to the site, obviously, if it's on a hill, we've got to regrade. We've got different profile sidewalks, and the distance away from our utilities, which are mostly on, I guess, the north side for sanitary.
Could you point to it? I mean,
Sure.
I can't kind of what you're talking about.
So our sanitary sewer is mostly along this side. We have water right here. And again, the further we get away from, this northwest corner, the more the cost increases. Again, we would try to look at areas that have less grading required and don't really conflict with the access for ADA.
You made mention about it. Is that okay with you?
I mean, I'm fine. I just wanted to take in consideration if there was another location. Of course, citizens made mention in that area that it wasn't, as it was just in the corner, and that's literally off of the grid from some of the main thoroughfares. That's why we're looking to see if there was another option to have it somewhere that was more, as well as trying to water down the opportunity for vandalism. Just in case someone would happen to be passing by, they would be able to see it versus down in that corner. So, I mean, if it's going to cause further harm, complications, I'm fine, but I just wanted us to take that in consideration prior to us moving forward.
I think something that could help the conversation is, again, part of the update here is that our lighting is still set to be delivered around September. The park is going to have an increased lighting presence. The building itself as well is expected to have exterior lighting. So, the darkness that may be considered in that specific area might not necessarily be a point or a condition that's going to exist as the structure is completed. In fact, the structure would be a lighting source. So, where we put it may actually benefit an unlit area.
He spoke on the lighting. He spoke on the lighting, and that was my main issue. So, I'm good. Thank you.
And that's on the 14th Street side?
That is the 15th Street side. So, well, I guess the recommended side, the original recommendation was on the 14th side. There was a request to see what it would look like for cost purposes on the 15th Street side near Krill.
So the 14th Street side is what you recommend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original site. Any other thoughts? Okay,
Madam Mayor.
well, how do we want to direct? Give some direction here.
I mean, being that I was one of the fourth with regards to a new location, I would like this to go ahead with the recommendation if it's going to alleviate some of the cost and some of the concerns of safety with regards to the lighting. I'm fine with the location that it's in.
Okay, do we
I
want a
second.
motion? Or just? Okay, motion, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for all your work on that.
Can you comment about the county's contribution to this?
Oh, well, yes, I think that our partners with the county have done us a great favor. I think, we had proposals before we put this out to bid for design, $40,000 to $50,000 just to design this and come up with specifications. So we rejected that one proposal for that, and we reached out to the county with the county engineer and draftsperson, and this is all produced in-house at no cost to the city, other than the survey, of course. But the design and specifications, again, you're looking at 10% of that original proposal, which I think that's a wonderful thing for us to be able to kind of work together on a project and to benefit the community.
Exactly.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tate Jenkins Community Center.
made a roadmap, we'll call it. Well, I guess while she's pulling that up, I can kind of update us with our deliveries of materials. We received the last delivery of HVAC equipment. So the curbing specifically to do the installation of the air conditioners on the roof has been received as of Monday. And as soon as we get our timeline up, right now we're just working on scheduling that. If you wouldn't mind zooming into 14, saying that's the bottom there. Right now, we've awarded the scope for HVAC. We've awarded the fire suppression and roof scope. We've gotten our funding issues addressed specifically to the critical systems. We have received confirmation from the Department of State to move forward. And at this point, we have notice to proceed sitting on my desk, ready to be issued. I just need one more piece of paper from, I think, a subcontractor just stating that they're a legal business. Once that's received, that means our project manuals for the entire job will be complete. That's an internal milestone that we hold before we issue notice to proceed. Once that's received, most likely next week, we'll actually issue those notice to proceeds, and then we'll begin scheduling our pre-construction meetings. We expect that the fire suppression and roofing vendor can be on site, most likely working on the fire suppression within 4 weeks of the issuance of the notice to proceed. And again, right now, because we received the air conditioning equipment a little early, we're trying to schedule with the vendor and the crane company. They've obviously had work that was obligated for a window, but we're expecting to be able to move forward with that within the month.
Thank you.
So we've reached the top of the hill. We're just about ready to roll down into construction. It goes pretty quickly. So you'll see a lot of pictures and updates from staff going forward as we begin to complete the project.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. McMillan? Thank you.
Thank you.
Update on Family Friendly Fun Day. Mr. Bell? Mr. Cartwright?
Yes, Mr. Cartwright will be speaking.
Good evening, everybody. Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, City Attorney, and staff. Family Friendly Fun Day, from my knowledge, from my background that I talked to people, went pretty well this past Sunday. I think it was a nice attendance, a nice setup. I didn't have any concerns that was brought to my attention. Maybe Chief Matt Newcomb can give more detail about any kind of concern that was brought to him. But overall, it was a good event. I have a lot of people call me and say they enjoyed their time down there. I will say that Mr. Williams decided to move on from doing permanent events after this past weekend. So he's decided to scale down and do just in-house events at different local parks. And he was advised that if he do those events, as long as they stay within the guidelines of the confinement of the park and the numbers they're supposed to be in the park, he will be fine. So everything else seemed to be going well. I haven't had any conversations with Mr. Williams since then. But Matt, do you have anything to add to the?
No, sir. We had no issues on Sunday's event at all.
Okay. And is there going to still be ongoing events, but at smaller, different locations?
Well, it'll be unpermitted events
Okay.
from this point on.
Okay.
Yes. So if it's not a permanent event, if it exceeds noise or parking or traffic issues, then police department will have to close it.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Cartwright? Thank you.
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
On the event, you mentioned another park. And just for clarification, because I was asking, I didn't know, I was on this assumption that the park, St. John's Avenue, all the way down past Children's Reading Center, is that in Francis? Is that a city park or county?
I think Francis is the county.
It's my understanding that the city responds
It's
to
city.
it.
So limits, okay.
It's in the city limits? Okay, so that'll be another park that he would have to come through, he or anybody else will have to
Yes.
come through
If it's city
our
limits, yes.
special event?
Yes.
Just want to know.
Okay.
For record.
Any other questions of Mr. Cutler? Thank you. And you're on deck again. Update, 4th of July fireworks.
The Fourth of July fireworks, behind the scene, we had some questions about it's gonna be on the fourth or the fifth. But since then, everything is on the Fourth of July. On the fourth. On the 4th of July. It's gonna be a nice event. We're gonna have a fireworks show. We're gonna have food and festivities down the riverfront like normal. The special event team is meeting on that next week to kind of go over everything and make sure it's vetted like it's supposed to be vetted. And then we'll bring it to you as form of a permit request or special event application request probably in the next commissioner meeting.
Okay. Any questions about 4th of July? Thank you.
Not off the hook yet. So, as I read about could you tell us a little bit about the event that's being planned for May 17th? I'm sorry, yeah, May 17th. Do you have an event planned for May 17th?
Talking about the rooftop social, the rooftop social. Yes, it's on the agenda, but I can go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, it's further on in the agenda.
Right.
That's fine. We'll talk about it then. You can come back.
Okay.
Thank you. Truth and Millage Finance Budget Calendar 2024. Ms. Cardi?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, everyone in attendance. The budget calendar for 2024-25, we're going to have we've planned for 7 budget workshops. In the month of April, our intent was to make sure that the commissioners receive year-to-date the information up until March, so that commissioners can begin determining budget priorities. We're hoping that you can submit or give us some feedback by May 24th. And the city manager and myself have begun meeting with department heads and developing requests and strategies. And we look forward to having one-on-one meetings in the month of June with the commissioners. We are meeting with finance, with the departments and developing, our intent will be to develop a balanced budget in June to bring to our budget workshops. And in July, we will complete trim. And by August, we'll have the balance of our budget workshops. And in September, we will have the first and second readings. So everything is incorporated here. I just wanted to give a highlight.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Cardi?
Ms. Cardi, anybody else? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And it's not really specific to what you just said, but
Okay.
it is about some monies. On the Jenkins Middle School deal, the community center, could you explain that $307 that, maybe it's not appropriate to ask you right now. I'll wait.
Yes, sir.
I'll take that off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to open the floor to general public comments, not related to anything specific on the agenda, limited to 3 minutes. Please be courteous and respectful, and the issue will not be addressed or action taken on the item at this time. Mr. Best?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zenny Best. I live with a mental illness, me and my wife. In Florida, we moved from New York to Florida 15, 20 years ago. The International Clubhouse was so sorely needed here. A new one opened up in Orange Park. We need one in Putnam County. They give you all kinds of services. They make sure you see the doctor. They make sure your insurance is in line. The people that sleep in the street, they don't have to sleep in the street. The people that stand out in the corners in the street with the money bag, they don't have to stand in the street asking for dollars. They make sure that their insurances and things are covered so they don't have to do that. You can't recover. I know people live in the streets and the woods. You cannot recover if you can't do this at the end of the day and turn around, lock the door and take care of yourself. You cannot recover from mental illness if you can't lock the door behind you and have dinner in your own place. I've been saying this for years. Me and my wife went through a thing, Deborah. We got divorced. Took me out. So many ideas or some things that happen to people with mental health issues that you have to talk about. My insurance, all of a sudden it went away. I retired with all kinds of insurance. One day I turned around, all the insurance is gone. No one sent me a letter or anything. Mr. Best, you owe $15,000. You owe $9,000. My wife is gone. I have two daughters up north. The mortgage, the house, the $10,000 that someone stole from me, the $5,000 someone from the county took from me. It's hard to keep it together. But with the mental health clubhouse, you have some place to go that's in your neighborhood, so you don't have to go spend the $15,000 in the hospital. I think it's something like $1,000 a day, a little more. That same money could be invested in our community doing something else. And the clubhouse funds their operation. They make sure you can ride the bus. They make sure you have food. They make sure your family is taken care of. You cannot recover if you can't do this behind you and lock the door. And then that's when the party starts, which means in my case, a merchant stole $10,000 from me. Another merchant stole $4,000 from me. Another merchant stole $3,000 from me. Now, with no money, and this is one of our big issues today, getting civil help for people like myself. Getting civil help, we have an attorney that can go get some of our dollars back. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Best.
We need you.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Is there anybody here for general public comment? Yeah, yeah, but yours is for a particular topic.
No, I thought I.
Okay, you didn't. I'm sorry. Come on, Mr. Roach. I read the wrong address. It's my fault.
Cheryl Roach, 312 Dodge Street. The village is not just one park. It should be a community, meaning everyone should feel listened to and respected. The commission has proven that you can act on an item that is in your best interest. Now prove that you can act on items that benefit the city as a whole. The issues I'm going to focus on are public bathrooms, public roads, and city blight. If there is one thing that trumps race, creed, or gender, it is the need to go. To refuse to provide public bathrooms downtown and at Riverfront Park for years is a blatant slap in the face, especially after last meeting's handling of the need at Hank Bryant. As we now stand with the marina in St. John's River Center being retooled as private entities, there are facilities. They are available, but again, they are privately provided. However, to make St. John's Avenue a viable destination, the need is present, and lavatories should be provided somewhere along the avenue. Also at the last meeting, blighted city-owned properties was an agenda item. The commission would not act on a city request of just over $100,000 to fix the problems. Two questions. Number one, with $3 million in reserves, why not? Also, why constantly use the excuse, we need more time? It appears to me, for you, it is never time to handle pressing problems unless it benefits your own personal plan or an outside influenced itinerary. As far as the road work on St. John's Avenue being over budget, to say city commissioners are tired of projects, especially the St. John's Avenue road work constantly being over budget. I know that you were all in for over $500,000 currently for the Jenkins Middle School project, along with $500,000 in grants. Change orders are going to happen, and going slightly over budget is norm. On the flip side, the real world, which most of Palatka lives in, Going over budget is a daily issue with groceries, bills, and rent. Why would you deny city residents the completion of the St. John Avenue Road project when you know that it is front and center in the residents' wish list for city improvements? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Come on up, Ms. Gibbons.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Tarsha Gibbons. I live at 225 Stillwell Avenue here in Palatka. I just want to say that I'm very disappointed that the commission decided to tear down the Belton property. Unfortunately, we were notified last minute about a meeting, which wanted the input of the community. But even with that, we made a decision to tear down a historic property. So me, as a concerned citizen, I wanted to be known that I'm disappointed in wasting our time. It seems to be a pattern of things sometimes where, you know, you open it up for the public to get our feedback, but then you make decisions based on, I guess, I don't know where that decision came from, but I would like to know what was the purpose of having a public meeting and soliciting us for our feedback, knowing full well, I guess that maybe your plans were not going to be altered or changed as far as either considering to save this historic property. I also want to point out that the Tillman House, which I was here at one of the past city commission meetings, and they were, I believe the citizens or the art league was asking for money to help restore that property from the city. I just want to know, is there anything that can be considered? Is there something that we can bring someone in to look at that property to see if it fits into the transportation hub? Is that a possibility, or is it totally out the window? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Ms. Wise?
Good evening. My name is Audrey Wise. I reside at 1610 Edgemore Street here in Palatka. The reason I'm standing is to ask the question. I attended a community meeting in regards to Jenkins Community Center and the possibility of restoration of the community that Mr. Cutright and his staff put forth an excellent presentation at that time. And the question was, it was going to be referred to the city council. My question is, has it been referred? And if so, will it be brought up in today's meeting or future meetings? Or when are we supposed to get a projection of the input from the community to the council, if it's going to be adopted or not? That is my question. Because at that meeting, we were led to believe that it was coming back to you guys and you were going to give him the okay, and everything's, all these mechanisms going to start working together, and we're going to start seeing some programs and all those things put together. That is my question. And if you can give me some type of feedback, please.
Thank you. Mr. Bell?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the plan is to have the feedback collected.
Yeah, I wanted to finish the public comment component and then we
Oh,
can try to answer. Okay. Is there anybody here for general public comment? Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and we'll move on to commissioner and staff response. Mr. Bell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the plan is to collect the information that came from that event and have something available at the next, on the next agenda at the next meeting. Yes. Yes, that's correct. As well as input from those folks who are interested in being part of the advisory board.
Thank you. And this is really not a give and take session. Is there any other responses from commissioner or any other staff?
I do want us to, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I do want us to address the question that came from Ms. Gibbons, if there is a response to it at some point, because there seems to be a lot of disappointment that have been coming forward with regard to the process of how things are done. And I would just like to bring clarity to how we arrived to the point that we are now.
Go ahead. Are you doing that now? Okay, go, Mr. Bell.
So I'm not exactly sure because those decisions were made prior to me arriving here. I know,
Could you transition it over to Jonathan? I just want, because I don't want to seem like it was a last minute thing and this has been a discussion for quite some time.
and because I wasn't here, I would defer to
Thank you.
Mr. Griffith.
So I'm assuming I'm speaking in reference to Jenkins, correct?
No,
No,
the Belton House.
The Belton property. Okay, so my recollection is that when the commission determined that they wanted to move forward with the acquisition of the property, there was some discussion related to the end use, and demolition was discussed at length it was a past meeting, I believe. The commission confirmed that, and that was following the public input meeting. We were given specific direction at that last meeting to move forward with the demolition and also start the design on an interpretive kiosk to acknowledge and kind of communicate the historical and cultural significance of the site. I don't mind giving a further update about where we're at with that. The contractor is moving forward soon. We're making modifications to the fencing around the site, and we've been working with the family to allow them to remove some of the belongings that they wanted to take with them.
Commissioner Jones, do you want to say something?
Yeah, because I don't think that's going to answer Ms. Givens' question about this, because I have a question. We already had a meeting. You just said, I agree with you. We had already decided what we were going to do with the property. I want to know why did we have that community meeting? Because I was blindsided at that meeting. And so how did that meeting come up? Because it would give the community a false sense of we're going to now have additional input because we may not be going that way. And I thought that was already a done deal myself.
And I can respond to that and take blame or credit. I was not on the commission when the decision was made to demo the building. When I became mayor afterwards, I requested that we give it another look and see, because of the significance of the history of that building, not the architecture, the history of the things that occurred there, the significance to the community. I asked that we have some community input meetings to take another look at that and reconsider the possibilities. And so I will take responsibility for bringing the topic back up.
And if I could add something, I don't want to make the representation that public input meeting was solely for the purpose of determining if we were going to preserve the building or demolish it. It wasn't. It was to get input on the site and the cultural and historical significance of the site and how we incorporate that into the whole plan for the A. Philip Randolph Transportation Hub. And I believe that we got a lot of valuable input from that meeting. There were some people that showed up, some great ideas. And if there was any misrepresentation about the decision to demolish or to save the structure, staff apologizes for that. That meeting was not solely for that purpose, and there was value in that meeting from my perspective.
Yeah, just to be clear, not saying it wasn't any value or wasn't important, just like that structure, it has meaning to some folk. However, as a commissioner, because I can't say it to my fellow commissioners any other time, but now, I like to be more informed on these type of meetings. It's just like the Jenkins meeting, as Ms. Wise is saying. We went to that meeting. I had no idea who scheduled the meeting, whether it was community affairs, whether it come from the mayor's office, whether it come from the city manager, assistant city manager. And when we got there, we had already, that's a duplicate meeting. We already had that same type of meeting before, but the public their expectation is a little different. Either we define exactly what this meeting is going to be about, because it does seem like we're either thrown under the bus because of actions that are taking place and we're ill-informed. I don't like that. I'm just, for everyone, city manager on down, I am saying, I don't want any more meetings like that unless we are thoroughly informed, and we need to inform the public what's the purpose of this meeting and why, because it does seem like it's misleading. So I wanted to say that to my fellow commissioners because I definitely felt that way. I felt a little blindsided. And that's not point a finger in the individual. It happened to be that way, and that's how it felt. Matter of fact, You probably felt that way because we brought you up to explain something that you got blindsided. So, and I suggested that. I apologize for that because you were in the same boat as I was. So it doesn't feel very good.
Commissioner, no apology necessary. We're more than happy to take constructive criticism if for the betterment of the community.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Okay, we will move on to.
I do want to know how moving forward, we're gonna address that. Like, all right, is there gonna be a plan in place when the meetings are, set up? If someone's gonna, inform the commission, do we expect to hear from one particular person and educate it on what the meeting's gonna be about? I want to know what that's gonna look like, or at least hear some ideas. Are we gonna expect to hear from the city manager, hear about them from the city manager, or what? Just if we can.
I don't know, Mr. Bell, do you want to speak to that, please?
Sure. I think there's two pieces that I would suggest. One is then when the commission agrees to or decides to have a workshop, we should probably be clear about exactly what that purpose is and what the objective is. And the second I would suggest is that when a workshop is designated, that we provide this, the staff provide an overview of the objectives for that workshop and what the outcomes are. We can commit to providing that to the commission.
So we're going to rely on you, Mr. Bell, to shepherd that.
And let us know about meetings that we don't ask for. Some of these meetings happens that we didn't call for. So with that being said, informing us in time, thoroughly informing us and properly informing us in a timely manner so we'll know.
Is there any type of protocol checklist that we could possibly create in order for us to just have something tangible that in years to come, we will have we don't want it to change this week for this meeting, that week, more just like something, a protocol policy with regards to community meetings. I think that probably would be the best way to possibly address it. A lot of times we get caught up from the day to day, but then again, if there's policy in place with regards to moving forth with public town hall type meetings of sort, I think that probably would eliminate some of the confusion or some of the concerns that have come from the dais. So I think that probably would be just the quickest and fastest way just to avoid any more confusion with regards to public input meetings. I think everyone had very valid points. I too wondered how it came about, and hence the reason there, but we're here now. But moving forward, I would just like us to be a little bit more in the know. So
I think that's a great idea, and we can certainly provide that review of our existing policies to see if we do have anything that speaks to that. And if we don't, clarifying, adding a policy that at least clarifies the distinction between workshops and public input and exactly how those are defined and carried forward.
And to add, I just want to be a little more specific because you still may go without knowing. Here's what I would like to see. The pre-agenda meeting, and then when we schedule meetings, the mayor is the only one of us that's in that meeting. So the mayor is privy of a little more information than we are. So at this point, the direction that I would like to give from the dais is you actually inform the rest of the commission on what was discussed or what's coming forward in detail. Sir, please.
Are you referring to the agenda for
The agenda is a little vague and generic, but conversations happen in the pre-agenda meeting that pretty much the direction is given there that we're not privy to. So Ms. Wise and Ms. Gibbons, I could sincerely apologize for you guys taking the time out to be to those meetings and not getting what they were expecting. You follow me? Because I was expecting the same thing. What I was expecting is we were going to get something from Community Affairs saying, here we are. This is what Jenkins Community Center is going to provide. That's what I thought. I didn't think that the commission was going to say anything, and it didn't feel good to be asked questions, or it wasn't fair to Mr. Cutright was asked a question. Even you, with history that you had no any knowledge of, and Mr. Cartwright was just carrying out merely what he was told. So just communication. I just think it's a gap in communication, but I'm asking you at this point to relay any communication out of the pre-agenda meeting to the rest of the commission. So disseminate that, please, sir.
And you're referring to the pre-agenda meeting for the commission meetings?
Commission meeting and going forth, there was those two meetings that were scheduled that we just spoke on. We had no thorough knowledge. The mayor said that she scheduled a meeting
I didn't
herself.
schedule, no, excuse me, I brought up the topic. I didn't
Okay.
schedule the meeting.
It was on the agenda.
It was on the agenda.
No, I'm talking about the.
It was on the agenda.
The Belton? Yes.
The Belton House.
Yeah, it
The
was on the
Belton
agenda.
House, and then we met that week over there. And we're given a microphone to talk on a subject that we had no idea what we were going to be talking about.
And for that particular meeting, we did not have a pre-agenda meeting. The only time that we do pre-agenda meetings is for the commission meeting, and the output from that is the actual agenda itself. So I think what you're looking for, if I'm interpreting it correctly, and please feel free to help me understand better, is addressed by providing an overview for all upcoming workshop meetings. Once they're set, the staff will provide an overview for what that agenda, what that meeting is going to be about, and what the expected outputs are.
Yes, sir. Increased communication.
Okay.
Are we all set? Any further comments? We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that we need to pull?
Item E.
B? Okay.
E is in.
Oh, E, yeah, an
Elephant.
elephant, okay.
G1.
Anything else? Okay, anybody else have anything they want to pull? Okay,
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda excluding E, G, item 1.
Second.
a motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. E, Ms. Krantz?
Thank you so much. A resolution of the city of Palatka, Florida, authorizing the extension of the performance period with SGS Contracting Services, Inc. for the RC Willis Water Treatment Plant Yard Piping Project for an additional 180 days at no cost and providing for scrivener's errors.
Mr. Griffith?
Thank you, Mayor. So I think you're all aware that we've started and we're in progress for the granular activated carbon filtration project out at the water treatment plant. Associated with this, there's some kind of ancillary projects that have to happen, and we have excess state revolving fund available to us. One of the things that came about after getting the filters in place is the ability for us to do some additional what we're calling yard piping. We're very limited in how we can utilize the different separate components right now. So what our engineers have done is they come up with a yard piping diagram that's going to afford our plant a lot of redundancy and backup in the event that we have to take certain ground storage tanks offline for maintenance, or if we have some failures in different components of the plant. So since we have this available funding to us and we want to bring that future change order or scope increase to you, we need to execute a 180-day extension to allow us to work through those additional changes.
So,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
so what was the original scope of work? What was the timeline on that, Mr. Griffin? Because I had 6 months, that's half a year to complete the additional work.
Yeah, and again, Commissioner, the reason for such a long period of time is because we're going through a redesign with the engineer to add this to the project. This wasn't something that was originally conceived of. And we also, once we get that in front of you and it's approved, there's still a long material lead time delay. So it's almost in essence that you would be considering a whole second project. Does that make sense, sir?
Commissioner Jones? Okay. That's the smoke I see.
So we don't know how long it's gonna take, but we're asking for 6 more months on top of whatever we may come. You guys, they come up and say it's gonna take them to complete the first
So
project.
let me see if I can walk you through the progression here.
Yeah, please.
You don't necessarily know that you're even going to authorize the work to the contractor, because what might happen is when we get the final diagram and we get the final pricing, the engineer along with staff is going to look at it and tell you as the commission if it's more favorable to move forward with your current contractor or to go back out to bid. So it could be that this 180-day extension is not even necessary. But we'd like to be in front of things, and we don't want to be coming back in front of you with a 30-day extension every single month.
I'm not an engineer, but it just seemed a little weird way of doing business. I just want you to explain it.
Understood.
It's weird to me. But thank you for explaining.
Mhm.
Nobody else have any questions?
Is there anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do we have a second? The motion, do we have a second to approve? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. G1. Ms. Krantz?
Madam Mayor, presenting to you item G1, which is resolution 2024 R102, a resolution authorizing award of invitation to bid 2024-04 and execution of a contract with PNS Paving, an amount not to exceed $406,186.60, using 100% Florida Department of Transportation grant funding for the St. Johns Avenue Streetscape Resurfacing Project and providing for schooner service.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Well, simply as the title puts it, this is awarding PNS Paving the scope of work and their bid total for this project, specifically noting that the intent is to complete this project at night.
And not to exceed $406,000?
Correct, and that includes a contingency for unforeseens.
Okay, can you pull up page 193, Sonny, please? All right, so PNS paving right there to the bottom. So those numbers don't add up.
The $389,786.60 is for the actual construction. The $16,400 would be added to the $389,000 to account for as the unforeseen.
But I see 389,786 twice.
So you have the base bid, and then what they presented was an alternate price if they were to do that at night. What the other contractors did, instead of giving a entirely new total, which is what PNS did, which was actually no change. It costs the same to do day or night for PNS. So if you look at Halifax Paving, their base bid was $375,265.50. To do that work at night, you would add $25,000 to their base bid. So that actually makes them more expensive than PNS Paving at $389,000.
Look at those numbers. Tell me something wrong. Look at them, okay? So base, 389,786.60. That's for PNS. Look at Halifax base, 375,265. They're gonna add, is what you're telling me, AHA.
So there was a confusion, I guess, with PNS in that the direction would have been to add the additive price. So that would be the alternate. So an increase over your base bid. PNS had no increase over their base bid. So they weren't sure if they should put a zero or if they should put their base bid price. So they made the call to put their base bid price. We clarified that with them in the bid opening, that there is no increase in price over their base bid. So if you look at Halifax Paving, again, that $25,000 would be added to the $375,000. That would put them at roughly $400,000 for their base bid, and they would have an additional $24,000 in contingency for unforeseens, which is less than the $16,000 for PNS Paving.
So follow me now. I got the 25 and then 24. So you're telling me that AHA with PNS is an error?
Correct. That should be $0.
I don't think that should be brought up before us to approve, and it's an error. So because you add it up,
Sure.
add to this? Okay. So Commissioner, this is something that you see from time to time on our bid sheet. There's a base bid and there's an alternate. Sometimes the contractors think that they're supposed to put the new total in the alternate, and sometimes they think they're supposed to put the additive amount. They were instructed to put the additive amount. Now, the engineer is responsible for taking this that you see here, the bid tabulation and all the bids, and doing a review and giving a recommendation of the lowest, most qualified. If you go to page 192, which is just prior to this, you'll see this is the complete bid tabulation that was included with the engineer's recommendation that reflects the accurate base bid and totals, as Mr. McMillan was explaining, with P&S to the right with the lowest base bid and alternate of 406,000.
I probably would
including the
agree with you if I
contingency.
could read it, because it's so small. I can't see it.
And night operation is zero in that category. Yeah.
And again,
Can
the
you point it
engineer,
out, Sonny? Because I'm still, I don't see it.
the engineer did confirm this with the bidder to make sure that the entry was correct. Yeah. So there's the 389. It's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Del.
See the
This
zero.
line is alternate for night operations,
Mhm.
$0.
Yeah, for the night.
Yep.
So their total did not increase. Those are asked to complete this work.
All right, so their total will be the 389, 786.60 plus 16.4.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure. You see what I see? And,
Can I share some good news?
what's that?
This is within budget.
Oh, yeah. I see that. Well, it wasn't, according to this, is not.
Well, it depends on how you interpret it, but anyway.
I can count. That's not, that's over the budget.
Okay,
All right.
any other
Thank you
questions?
for clarifying.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
before we move to regular business, I wanted to point out that there was a request by a member of the commission for us to group like items together so that it would be clear that they're related. And so staff made the effort to provide you with G as the overarching title for those two items, G1 and G2. I just want to make sure that that addressed the request and that we're okay with that.
Everybody okay with that? Yes.
Well,
Thank you,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, on to public hearings. Ms. Krantz?
Public hearings or regular business for clarification?
Oh,
Madam
regular
Mayor?
business, I'm so sorry. Regular business.
Madam Mayor, presenting to the commission resolution number 2024-R111, a resolution of the city of Palatka authorizing the sale of 512 Emmett Street, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute and attest all documents conveying the transfer of the real property on behalf of the city and providing for scrivener's errors.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Sure. So what you have before you is a result of the request of the commission that was approved for us to clear the ground and sell the property. And so the demolition is in process. We advertised for the property. We originally had some proposals. Those proposals expired, and the request from the commission was for us to accept offers, not us, the realtor of record, to accept offers and close this out as of April 30th. And so what you have before you is the offer that we received of $51,000. Now, I do want to point out that that is less the commission. And so the actual amount that we will net from the whole process is calculated to be $23,791. And when I say net, that includes the cost of demolition, the cost of taxes, the permit costs, and the purchase price of the property. So if you accept this offer for 51,000, the net would be $23,791.54.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, we'll have to wait until the commission comes back into the room.
Yeah. we will.
I know, I'm fine with it.
He's here. He's here.
Well, thank you. Sorry, excuse me.
Mr. Bell gave an overview of the sale of the property on Emmett Street, the lot. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this item before I actually take a vote? Seeing none, we'll vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. That was actually a new price, a high price for a lot in that neighborhood, I can tell
Yes.
you personally. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that was a good sale. On to public hearings. Ms. Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Pleased to present to you ordinance number 2024-04, an ordinance of the city of Palatka amending chapter 70, article 4, and appendix A of the municipal code of the city of Palatka as it pertains to the use of city docking facilities, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and providing for scrivener's errors.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to speak on the intent of this ordinance related to the rates. I can turn it over to Ms. Lagacy. She's here on behalf of Palatka Boathouse Marina. But as you're aware, you've entered into an operating agreement with Palatka Boathouse Marina for the operation of the Riverfront Marina, which includes the ship store and the docks. Now, their park operating area, and I printed this just so I could read it aloud because it's different by the different areas. The boat slips by Memorial Bridge are included, except that PBM will oversee the aluminum docks in regards to overnight dockage and registration and fees required for overnight stays if the city allows overnight stays. I think some of you may recall, and if you don't, I'll remind you, when the city received the funding for the floating docks that are outlined in red and have the transient slips label in the middle of the screen, it was conditioned on the fact that these were for transient boats. So not to exceed 15-night stays. It was federal funding that was passed through to the state and then granted to the city. So what this ordinance does is it brings our current regulations in line with the utilization of the transient slips, as well as some things that we have dealt with, some issues that we've had in the recent past related to derelict and abandoned vessels. It gives your staff a little bit more flexibility and authority to make sure that we do not have those derelict and abandoned vessels at our facilities. I did want to outline, and Sonny, I don't know if you can move me, but that kind of blocks. Yes, thank you. Everything in yellow, it's also labeled day slips. We still have what we call temporary recreational slips that you would not be charged for. The rates in here are specific to the transient slips. So everything that you see in yellow is still afforded for temporary recreational purposes, and we still have the ability to dock the American Cruise Lines at the end of the dock. Also in here, something that's been in practice that we're putting in written policy is that those tending docks at the boat ramp are not for mooring and they're not for fishing and shrimping because they are specific to the launching of vessels. Do you have any questions of me or of Ms. Lagacy?
Does anybody have any questions? No, I'm going to open up the floor to public comment in a minute, Miss Mary. Also, that includes the city boats, the operation of the city. I have to bring it
Yes,
up.
ma'am. I failed to mention the water taxis.
Okay.
It does. Yes. Which we've got one in the picture right there. So,
There you
yeah.
go. Okay, thank you. I'm going to open the floor to public comment. Ms. Kitchens?
Allegra Kitchens, 1027 South 12th Street, Palatka, Florida. I would like to ask you to table this till the next meeting for the first reading and hold a public workshop next week on this. I have found a couple of issues of vital importance in this ordinance. The first one is under section 70-101, use of city docking facilities. I think Mr. Griffith just explained it probably pretty well. Under C, it says the riverfront park boat ramp is open to the members of the general public for the purpose of loading and unloading boats. Fishing and shrimping are not permitted on tending docks and gangways. I think that needs to be discussed by the public and with the public, because there's a lot of fishermen. Some it's recreational, but some that they do actually fish for their food. So I think just that alone should be a public hearing. Now, the other thing that is extremely important on the next page under section 70-102 prohibited uses, if you go down to paragraph I, pardon me, GHI, yeah, DEF, enforcement. The provisions of this section 7-93 shall be enforced by the Division of Law Enforcement of the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and its officers, comma, the Sheriff of St. Johns County and his or her deputies, and the Chief of Police of the City of St. Augustine and his or her deputies. Section 7-93 is the St. Augustine Muni Code and not the Palatka Muni Code. If you agree to this or pass it on both readings, you are giving the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office and the St. Augustine Police Department authorization to enforce your regulations in the city of Palatka. And I know you don't want that. Now, what I suggest in the tabling is give our city attorney the direction to go over these prohibited uses. And in fact, the entire ordinance where it's written in red, check our ordinance as it's already written, the Palatka ordinance, check the St. Augustine ordinance, and weed out anything that refers specifically to St. Augustine. Because some of the things in here, and I didn't mark all of them due to the length of time. Some things referring to waterways obviously refer to the inland waterway and not the St. Johns River, which is regulated by the state of Florida. So I would respectfully request table this till the next meeting, have a public workshop so the public can give their input on the fishing and shrimping, and but especially, even if you don't want the public workshop, that's fine. Have the city attorney go over this document word for word, go over the St. Augustine Muni Code word for word, the Palatka Muni Code word for word, and make sure that this refers to the Palatka laws and not St. Augustine. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I did notice those, and I did pass that along as far as the St. John's and St. Augustine corrections, so the staff are aware of that.
The version in front of you and the version to be considered for adoption is correct. It's the Putnam County Sheriff's Office and the City of Palatka.
Commissioner Jones? Okay. I still have public comment going. Yes, it's still public comment. So Miss Mary, could you please come up, name and address? Be careful.
Madam Mayor, while she's coming up, I did want to add that the city attorney did provide review and updates.
Right, we know that, yeah, and that's, I just wanted to point out, I had noticed it and let her know. Go ahead, Miss Mary.
I just had the question of
Name and
where.
address, you have to have the name and
My
address.
name is Mary Lawson Brown. I live at 107 South 9th Street, Palatka, Florida. I wanted to see where they were gonna dock the Pride of Palatka, because I think it's important that it's being docked there sometimes a day, so that when people go across that bridge, they'd have something to stop, look, and maybe come to find out how they could get on it. Those boats were done to help develop the whole waterfront for the city of Palatka. And I'd like to see it do that, to bring new businesses here. I think when we started out in Eustis, Florida, they had 26 businesses that came when they got their boats and stuff started. So could you put the picture back up there and show me where they're gonna dock the boats, please? We were told at one time that where that red was, that the end of that was where the boats would be docked during the day.
I don't know if Mr. Griffith wants to cover, but it's actually docked in the picture. If we can point it out, can somebody show Miss Mary where it is exactly?
Sonny, can you point with the cursor where
Cursor
Pride of
right
Palatka
there,
2
where
is?
the- Right there. There
So
it
they're
is.
gonna do them there instead of the end of that dock.
It's, yeah, it's currently parked there now, docked
Okay,
there now.
all right. Just as long, it's to bring tourism here. The idea was to bring those boats because we needed a carrot to have people stop. And when they cross that bridge, if they see something that they can come and ride down our St. Johns River. It brings tourism here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mary. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Please come up and give your name and address for the record.
Daniel Lupton, 120 Riverview Drive, East Palatka. I just had a question about that picture. So I guess what I'm hearing is the yellow, as far as, you know, people that live here, that's just going to be free to use. Or
Mr. Griffith.
is that
Mr.
correct?
Griffith will
Is that?
explain.
Yes, sir.
Like
Those,
like it is now. I mean, nothing's changing as far as.
yes, sir. We're terming it temporary recreational slips.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment on this topic? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Commissioner Jones?
I do have a question. As Ms. Kitchen mentioned about recreational fishing on the dock, is it prohibited? General public, or the boating, boat, fishing and shrimping are not permitted on the tending dock. So can you keep it up for a minute?
Would you like me to outline where those are, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. Just
Of course, yeah. Y'all mind? Sunny, is that the full width of the picture?
I mean, I can do that.
That's perfect, thank you. So these right here are what we call tending docks. A gangway is any of these aluminum ramps that you see here. And as you access the different docks, they all have railings. They're for the actual pedestrian passageway. So from a functional perspective, it's not safe to utilize those for fishing or shrimping. So we're just trying to put that into the code rather than just having it as general practice.
So where are we gonna allow our local people to go to fish off docks and to shrimp off the dock?
So everywhere that you see yellow or it's labeled as
They
day
currently.
slips.
And it's fine that they go out there.
Isn't that where they currently shrimp? Like,
Yes,
yeah.
that's how it currently is.
Yeah.
They shrimp everywhere.
You rarely see them go over there, but they do, but they currently film that. in
Those are the
yellow
most
areas.
functional areas. They're
Yeah.
level dock areas. You're not casting over a railing. You're not on a sloped surface. So those are the preferred areas.
Okay. And 7102B. And I talked to Ms. Lagerson about this on the phone. And the intent, are they gonna do some recreational vehicles other than the Pride of Palatka, like kayaking, I said sea-doos and stuff like that. And would you kind of like come tell us what would be available? Because I wanted to,
Ms. Lagacy, come up, please.
I'll put the picture back, Madam Mayor. I just got to turn the timer off. It's dinging on me.
Hello.
I got excited. So
Yeah,
when we
well,
were
I will
talking
let
on
you
the
finish.
phone, so can you share with the public? Because there have been other, I guess, commercial vendors that ask about utilizing
Okay.
that riverfront. So can you
Sure.
tell us about other extracurricular
Yes,
activities that may be.
Marlene Lagasse, 125 Cypress Point Circle, East Palatka. And this is Mark Allen. He's our general manager that's ramrodding the project that's going on down there. I can answer some questions and Mark can do timelines and stuff for you. And maybe if he goes over the timeline, that'll answer some of your questions. How about that? And then I can get into more detail. If you want to tell them what our plan is for the next 180 days.
Hi, good evening. How's everybody? Okay. So the timeline for the riverfront, currently now, for those of you seen, we have a bait and tackle and ship store that is just been opened. So we're just getting that started. That's our main priority. So our object is to build upon the foundation so that we fill the riverfront with a series of products and activities that bring people to Palatka and for the people of Palatka to enjoy. So the first thing again is our primary was to fill the retail space, which would be supporting those coming in and doing the major activities that are there, like fishing, shrimping and other things and boating. So as you see that there, it has everything from ice, it'll have drinks, and those are along with all of the basic needs for anybody coming out there to spend some time in the sun, in the water. The next thing will be, if you see in the back area, will be a coffee shop, so coffee and ice cream. So it will have the availability for outdoor and indoor service. So both the indoor window and the outdoor windows will be changed and they'll be set for service. And we're expecting to have a full array of coffee products along with ice cream vending as well. That one should be up in about 45 to 60 days at the most. We're currently working with our staff that will be going in there and looking to procure our equipment and get that thing built out. Following that, we're working on a series of eco tours with kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, and potentially paddle boats. Those will be going in shortly. Again, some of that will work off of the dock and pier itself and the ramps. And then some of it we need to work into a space where the soft launches are so that it's safe. Keep in mind that a majority of accidents in canoes happen loading and loading on docks. So we want to be really cautious with that. We're expecting to have that up and going by the end of this month. So you'll start seeing activity there. The transient slips, which we're talking about there, those rates, which are all set up into the ordinance, once approved, we will then be able to start bringing in those. So we have not allowed anybody to utilize the transient slips yet, with the exception of the fishing tournaments that have been going on. Those will be available. We already have a significant amount of demand for current and for months going forwards. So that'll be opened up right away. We do have the online system where you'll be able to book your transient slips. That's a popular system and will be integrated with both social media and with a website that we're working on building now. So you should see that happening hopefully by the end of the month, granted all the ordinances approved as specified. Following that, we'll be building on that foundation and adding canoe, kayak, paddleboard, water bike rentals. So not just tours, but rentals. So we'll start working on getting our display out there of products and then be able to use that. They'll be able to check in there both and online, and there'll be staff available during the busy times when people have demand for the use of those products. So, and you should start seeing that in 30 to 45 days taking place, as we're already working with procuring the inventory for that, and then the process to be able to implement that. Following that, over the next 45 to 60 days, you should start seeing boat rentals. Part of the city's contract is we'll be providing boat rentals. We're looking for the popular type. So we're currently working on procuring the mix of boats that'll go in there. And you should start seeing the first few boats going in the next 45 to 60 days. So again, getting a lot of this action going over the summer. Following that, as you guys know, there's the process of putting in the concession. So the food concession. So that's under process now. We're working with multiple vendors and chefs to see who would be the best likely candidate to work with us there. We're reviewing LOIs that we already have from several chefs currently, along with other local and outside opportunities to come in there. We want to put a great menu and have great, amazing service and something that people want to use as a destination to come here by boat. We're speccing out the unit, which if you've seen that in the proposal, we have renderings for the unit there. It's going to be a sizable food trailer, fully built out, and then it will be refinished to look like the building, which we've already worked with the Historical Society on. I do have renderings for that for anybody who wants to see those. And then once it's built out, you can expect the full time from now till operation. Our goal is to 90 to 120 days for it to be fully operational.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, question I have is, a young lady came up earlier about restrooms in that area. Is that restroom to the building, what's the hours of operation? And is it open to the public for public use?
What's the public use?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening again. The restrooms will remain open to the public, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. We have automatic locks on the doors, so they should be open and closing every night.
Okay.
My question, just to follow up on that, is that publicly noticed on that facility? I don't think people know.
I do not believe it is. We can definitely put a signages.
And the only reason I ask is because sometimes when I go walk in the evening, people are pulling on the door.
Mhm.
I think that some damage and alleviate people trying to do that. So I think it should be properly signed that it's 7A to 7B.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One
Go
of the
ahead,
things
Ms.
that I want to address for Ms. Brown is the water taxis. So currently we have POP 2, which is the pontoon boat, and that is located at the floating docks. POP 1 is enclosed boat. We're still waiting on the Coast Guard approval for a few things on that. Hopefully, by the end of the month, that will also be located over there. And we are going to put that on the end, I think, for display, just because it is cute.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
People are calling you to find out how they can get tickets or.
Okay, and that's one of the things that we're gonna have available. We're gonna have online tickets. Our current plan for the summer, because you know how nice and hot it is here, is on Saturday mornings, we're gonna have a morning tour, like coffee and croissant type tour. It'll be a 2-hour tour. We're gonna have Sam Carr, and he's gonna come and he's gonna do like the Bartram Trail and tell us about Palatka. And then we're going to have a full moon sunset cruise. So the month of June, July, August, September, the hot months, those are probably the best times. We do have special events. People can rent the boat. We just had, I think it was 1967 Palatka High School family reunion this last weekend. So we will still be doing individual, whether there's weddings, reunions, funerals, that type of thing. And then we're working with the Waterway Committee because they're trying to put on some stuff. They work with Bartram to just get some more going on down there. So we've got a lot going, and of course now it's all rolling fast. Any other
Any
questions?
additional questions?
Ms. Legacy, will you tell them how many second graders have gone out on the trips?
I do not know how many went out this year. There had to be over 1,000 every day.
They said.
Miss,
I don't know what the total is, but it's
Yeah.
a lot.
yeah, it was definitely over 1,000. Thanks, Miss Mary. You're
Mhm.
supposed to come up, you know, that, and we're done with
Fun.
public comment.
Anything
You know
else?
the drill.
Any questions?
I'm happy to hear the local, giving opportunities for locals to
Yes, sir.
possibly be in there. Definitely, if there is an opportunity for locals to be housed there, I would definitely like to see that, so.
And they are, and Mark is negotiating with several. Of course, we're not giving any names out or anything, but yes, we would love local people to be here and handling all of that. So, and we will be looking for local help shortly.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other further questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Thank you.
A motion, do we have a second?
Like I said, we need to look at.
Well,
Second.
we have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to Commissioner comments, Commissioner Campbell,
You done?
Commissioner Jones.
Hello. Oh, that's good.
Do you have any?
I don't have.
No. Commissioner? No. All I want to say is that, just to remind us, workshop wise, the due diligence period for the property exchange, if we're gonna go forward, ends on August 15th, so we really need to have a workshop or discuss that further. And continues to be public information requests about the vehicle tracking device that was removed and it's been reinstalled in the city manager's vehicle, most recently from First Coast News. So it continues to be a topic of information or interest. Just wanted people to know that because of communication, as we've said. And that's it for me. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion. Thank you all.
4 o'clock, Jay.